Hey, how's it going? This is my 75 280, and we're going to be spending the next 10 days doing all sorts of things, including an engine swap, completely redoing the suspension, and all sorts of body and electrical work. So it's going to be a long 10 days.
It's still going to look the same, it's just not going to be the same.
Yeah, same.
We're literally not changing anything on the outside.
We got a bunch of parts for it. We got to go to FedEx, pick up more parts, everything like that.
Yeah, this entire stack over here. This is all just like a fifth of JP's stuff that's going in this.
And there's more at
There's a lot.
FedEx too.
Yeah, we still got to pick up like half of it.
All right, we got the hot pizza coming in. You want the hot pizza? Good, dude, you filled the whole truck. This is impressive. Okay, so JP just spent the last like 3 hours literally unboxing stuff, putting it on a shelf. We have some really beautiful shit here. Chris is about to leave town, but you know, because in the spirit of things, I think he just needs to leave town in a proper fashion. So go for it, man. That was such a fail. Do the reverse then. There we go. There we go. Good burnouts. And that, sir, is how you christen a build. Anyway, yeah, so Datsun's about to go into the knife. It has lots of stuff it definitely does not deserve, but this car is going to be one hell of a car. All right. Anyway, this is going to be one hell of a car. So let's push it in, get it on the lift, and start putting it under the knife.
What's up? How are
What
things?
up? Pretty good. Going actually pretty fantastic so far. We got all the parts unboxed. We got the Datsun up on the lift. Most of the body panels off, and we are getting. Actually, the engine is pretty much ready to go. We have to take the transmission bracket off and then unbolt the lower suspension frame and or the chassis cross member, and then everything's just gonna fucking drop down. So it's going pretty smoothly considering it's day one. Yeah.
It's beer time now.
Yeah, there we go. Yup.
She's rusty, but you got plans for that, don't you?
Yeah, a couple. So the big ones, as you can see, we have lots of issues to address. Big guy over here, right? So actually the whole...
I call those speed holes.
Yeah, well, they add lightness to the car. So all of the floor pans are getting cut out. New floor pans we're gonna make new floor pans, and then we're gonna make new chassis rails here on both sides. And then really the only like other structural thing is this fender well here. This is where the battery sits, and Datsuns are notorious for rusting right here, so we're gonna address this. Probably just cut all this out and put new metal in, and that's honestly all of like the structural problems with the car. Obviously the chassis rails are kind of a big deal, but once that gets complete, there's really not a whole lot else to do. Everything else is cosmetic, like this door. I mean, who cares what it looks like, right? So there's that, and then putting all the new stuff on. So it'd be pretty cool, but we're gonna get everything off the car first and address all that. maybe get some, rust reformer and some undercoating on her, and then go from there. So
Sweet.
should be pretty fun.
How are you feeling?
Frosty.
Frosty? Good,
Yeah.
because I think we're picking up Matt at like 1 a.m., aren't we?
Yeah.
You guys remember? You guys remember Matt from last year?
Yeah, this is the OPCR guys. If you guys are wondering what the hell these things are, we're super cute and we all have them. It's
Matching tattoos.
Let's see.
Actually, yeah, this is LS Swap Part 2, so.
ignored.
We wanted to see your matching tat. It was cute.
I don't think
Are you too swole for it?
so bro, I can't even get this sleeve up right now, bro.
Oh, bro.
It doesn't even.
Oh, man. You just imagine it.
You can imagine it's like up over here. It's like right up my tricep. It's like really bulgy, and like there's some. I'm just kidding. Nah, it's gonna be fun, and we are going to build a fun car. And there's absolutely nothing about this car that deserves everything that's on that rack, but that's what we're going to put
Take
on
a
it.
gander
So
at that beauty.
it's ridiculous.
I don't know. Have you guys seen this yet? He just has all the prettiest parts. I mean, look at these knuckles. Look at this mustache bar. Look at all of the pretty aluminums. He has everything.
Yeah, the entire wiring harness we're making, all sorts of wiring shenanigans. So everything's really just gonna get.
JP
Sorted
like
out.
genuinely wasn't kidding when he said this thing is getting redone tip to tail, up and down, left and right, forwards and backwards.
Every single component is
Yeah,
gonna get replaced.
It's gonna be a shell, and then it's gonna be not a shell.
Yeah. What's up, guys? It's day 2 here on the Datsun build. Yesterday we got almost all the drivetrain out. We still have to drop the subframe and all the rear suspension and stuff. But we got the engine bay cleaned up pretty good. Every component is out, and we're gonna drop all the dash and the rest of the interior components, which there aren't a whole lot left. So all that's gonna get done today, and then we're gonna start working on, hopefully, start working on getting all of the rusty bullshit out of the car.
All right, so this is the Catfish Camaro that I guess JP or Josh or Will purchased for the Z car. It's got the LS1, good running engine, and Eric and I here are just gonna get to work pulling this thing, getting it on the lifts, taking all the necessary parts out of it. The cool thing about getting running parts car is you can get the wiring harness, ECU, front accessory drive, everything is clearly working as it is because we're driving it around, and it'll be really helpful for the swap. So this actually shouldn't take very long. They built these to be like assembled on the factory. They put the engine in from the bottom, so we're just gonna do the reverse of installation, get it on the lift, unbolt all the subframes and just drop it out. It actually shouldn't be that hard. I pulled one of these motors out in my garage in a very sketchy way with a cherry picker, but having a lift will be way nicer.
Sit rep. The LS is out of the Camaro, which is good. And the Camaro is now outside, which is also good. It's also torrentially snowing, so that sucks, but also
It's supposed to
good.
continue doing so until tomorrow.
Indeed. Not a great day for working on cars, but luckily we're inside. So we're pulling off the automatic transmission right now because poopy, and then because poopy. Once we get that up, we gotta take apart the Datsun suspension subframe, and we're gonna refurbish that, get the LS motor mounts on it, and then tomorrow this will be going up just to check clearances and all that kind of
We're gonna
stuff.
check this guy, because this guy is no comprendo with big beefy boy.
Yeah.
What's up?
Day 3, I guess. What day is it?
Day
Josh?
3.
It's day 3. So Eric and I are stripping down the front subframe. Basically, we just need this piece here. We're gonna reuse the steering rack and replace some boots and stuff like that. But he has new brakes, a full new spindle kit. Come on over here. This is pretty sweet. This is a Technotoy tuning front coilover setup. So it replaces the spindle and everything. And you got control arms as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so basically everything's getting replaced. So we really just need that front
All of the
subframe.
sexy parts.
Yeah, go check out all the awesome parts over there.
Look at this.
That doesn't look like it messes around.
It doesn't mess around.
Sway bar in there, and all
This
that.
is a fully adjustable boy.
But
Yeah.
what we're doing right now is we do need to send these back to Techno Toy Tuning so that JP can get a $200 credit in for him to continue to purchase these fancy new parts. So that's why we're disassembling this guy.
Right on. And then JP's got stuff going on in the rear.
So much stuff. Actually, we finished dropping the rear end, which essentially we need nothing out of. And now I'm gonna drop all the gas stuff. And then once all the lines are off the car, it'll be just the chassis. There won't be anything
Dang,
left.
dude, you're not kidding. There's really not a single part on there that we're gonna reuse aside from the sway bar.
No, we have a new, and even then, to be honest, I probably won't because this sway bar is frame mounted, and Techno Toy Tuning sells a different sway bar that I believe bolts to the back of their drop mounts, and I might just use that because then I don't have to fuck with all these old nasty shenanigan body mounts that are horrible. So probably
So
just
if
go
anybody
with
in
this.
the Denver area is in the market for a complete rear subframe that was working, hit me up, or I'll get it from JP.
It's a R200 long nose, which is the stock 280 differential. Everything works perfectly fine, except for the shocks are completely blown. So other than that,
Genuinely non-existent.
yeah, no, they don't
There's
work at
no
all.
resistance in them at all.
No work.
You hit
No
a bump
work.
and you just go like this for about 5 minutes.
Hence why they're getting replaced.
Okay, I'm gonna go pick up some steel so we can get to fixing all the holes in this thing. Have you guys seen that? I don't think you guys have seen that. Hole.
I can literally get my
Lots
fist
of
through this
hole.
one. Oh yeah, check it out.
Hole here.
Oh man, he's fisting that one.
Yeah.
Fisted over here.
This is a good hole.
Hole here. Holes here. Chassis rail. Actually, this one's like kind of okay compared to normal Datsun stuff.
That's what I was thinking.
No more chassis rail. Yeah, there's the old girl's got some rust. We think it might have been underwater for Katrina because it came from Louisiana.
I'm pretty sure it's a flood car.
It came from New Orleans.
JP,
so.
what year?
Josh and I have been banging out some dents. We kind of we got this seam all fixed. We hammered out a bunch of this. This was all gnarly and squished in. So this is, I mean, it's not perfect. Look at the car. It's not ever going to be perfect, but it's a lot more friendly to the eyes now. And if there was any geometry changes, we didn't fix them because this is still all squished. But at least it's going to look better. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start addressing some of the rust. But before we do that, we're gonna bolt on the triangulated strut tower brace. That way none of the geometry on any of the fenders gets messed up. And then we'll start cutting out some of the cancer, making templates, making patch panels, and tacking them in. So once we get the engine bay all done, then probably, start running brake lines and fuel lines, I think.
So we're gonna tackle all the rust and all the body panels, get everything kind of reformed, shoot some undercoating, and paint out the inside of the engine bay. And then from there, we're going to be running brake lines and fuel lines, and hopefully cutting the back end out and making a spot for the new fuel cell.
There's a decent amount of rust repair to be done, so we've got our work cut out for us. But we want this thing not to twist into a weird shape when you get on the gas pedal, so
Sweet.
kind of important.
But right now,
Good guys.
pizza. So today we got actually a fair amount of stuff done. It wasn't exactly what we thought we were going to get done, but we got a lot done. So Eric actually found a T56 down in New Mexico and spent 10 hours driving down and back to get us a transmission for this build. So that's awesome. Much thanks to Eric. And also, we got all of our metal fabbing tools situated and kind of set up the way we need them. We started cutting out a lot of the rust today. We're sort of addressing the battery box, all the rust that was there. We've got a bunch of the paneling in there, but we're done for the day, so we're not going to finish it up. We also finished welding the camber plates in and got the strut brace in this morning, which is going to help keep everything kind of square while we're cutting and welding and everything. We're also going to do the camber plates in the back, so before we start cutting and welding in the back of the car, we're going to set those up as well. We're going to cut the spare tire carrier out and put the fuel cell in the back.
We got a couple little things done too. We got the brake master cylinder in there. Had to modify the holes a little bit. Clutch master cylinder is in there as well. So a few extra things to do there. And the serpentine belt for the engine. Got the flywheel set up with the T56. And yeah, did a bunch of other little things today. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, good day. Very productive. Today, moving forward on the Datsun, we're going to be finishing up the battery tray. We're going to cut the floor pans out, and we're going to be bead rolling new pans for the bottom of the car. We're also going to be making new chassis rails, and hopefully if we get around to it, we're going to try to cut out the spare tire carrier and build a new fuel cell tray.
Sweet.
Yep. So we've got the passenger side floor pan all cut out as much as we're going to do. We're going to keep cleaning up the edge of the material here, and then we're gonna press a new pan. It's gonna be very simplistic, nothing fancy, pretty much big square. What's up, everybody? So today we're going to be continuing working on the floor pans. We're going to cut out the driver's side, and then once we have both floor pans in, we're going to be putting in new chassis rails along the bottom. We still have a little bit to button up on the passenger side, just the front here, and admittedly the driver's side is going to be a little bit harder. It's significantly worse, so we're going to have to cut out a lot more of the floor. Might take a little longer, but we're going to do that as soon as we get the passenger side done. And then we're gonna start test fitting and mounting all the
Engine things.
All the engine things. We are test fitting the LS and the T56. And we thought this was going to be a very big process, and we literally just lowered the car on top of the engine.
Wait, that's on your bottom right-hand side.
And that's about it.
It's pretty butter too.
We have done absolutely nothing
It's clear the rail now.
as far as putting this engine in, other than lower the car.
There's also nothing for it to hit.
Exactly.
Did
Plan
you guys got that floor plan on the other side? Floor pan?
No, so we have the passenger side all done, the chassis rail's done, but we just wanted to test this fit and sort of take some measurements and stuff before Matt leaves tonight. So we'll pull it back out and we'll do the driver's side tomorrow, but we're gonna get it in that we can all stare at it and make
Take
cool
pictures.
jokes. Take pictures.
Hey, Mitch, about the shirt.
You saved the shirt just for today, huh?
I did. I really did. Yeah, come on down.
All right, so the engine mounts are almost there. Keep going. Keep going. We need like an inch.
Hold on.
Are we hard up?
Hold on.
We're hitting something.
I think we're good. We're like a mil, like a half a mil clearance from this transmission mount that wasn't ground off. So try and push just a little bit more.
All right. You ready?
Yeah. Oh my.
To be honest, like we're pretty much right on where the subframe is. We're lined up with the engine mount, so that's where it's set. And then from here, we can slide the engine back in the mounts.
Yes, for sure.
Dude, I've even got like half an inch between the alternator and the chassis rail, bro.
And we have like 4 inches to go
It's
back.
almost like people have done this swap before. I mean, I don't know.
A couple times. Weeks, I guess.
All right, how much do you guys trust your chains?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't trust them at all, but there are 4 of them.
I don't know about that. I got no hair.
There it is.
Woo! Dude. Dude.
It's
All
a
right,
floating
so print time?
LS.
That is a floating LS.
All right,
Boys,
let's chop that.
It's a hoverless.
Let's see if mounts line
It's
up
got
and
a
stuff.
Bluetooth cross member.
You feeling excited?
yes, very.
Yeah, and it's
We're gonna be doing lots of measuring and
also adjustable.
figuring out where we're gonna put everything in here and under the car, and where we have space
It's
for,
sitting- hold on, it's sitting
you know,
there.
all the random things that you need on a car.
Look on the
And
back.
then
Oh shit, sitting right here.
gonna drop it back down, and
Oh, it's that
then
round. Shit.
finish all of the chassis stuff, make all the brackets for all of the things,
We can just move the
spray paint everything with rattle cans,
Okay.
and put it all back
So,
together.
like, look at the,
And hopefully
hot.
it'll have the engine and transmission in and on all 4 wheels by Friday when I leave,
Oh yeah, and then
because I'll be upset if it doesn't. And then we're pretty much just waiting like for the driveline to be made. I'm still waiting for a brake kit to come for the rear, and a couple little other things to get sorted out. So we've got the floor pans in. The chassis rails are both done, which is great. Right now I'm throwing the driver's side seat bracket back in. We had to cut a lot more of the driver's side out, so we took out one of the seat brackets, and we're just getting that back installed in the right spot. Might take a little while, but we'll get it done. And then up next, we're gonna be plating in the rear tail section here. The lights on the Z are notorious for rotting out and breaking and dry rotting and all sorts of stuff. And they're incandescent light bulbs. So instead of trying to modify the ones that I have, we're just gonna cut all this out, plate it over, and restart over with new LED lights. Do something fun with it, we'll see. We got that. Obviously we still have the rear camber plates to put in and the strut braces. And then we're gonna be cutting out the spare tire carrier and dropping in a box for the fuel cell. So that'll be the next day or so. I'm working on blocking off the stock gas cap opening, and I got like mostly through fabbing a block off plate for it. It's almost finished, but I gotta still trim a little bit off. When I remembered, I have the stock gas cap. And to be honest, I'm not like super stoked how it fits. It's gonna need a little work, kind of trimming it up to get it to like really seat into the quarter panel the way I want. Which it looks cool. I like that. I scrape all the paint off and weld it in, but I kind of like this too. Like there's something unique about a flat plate on a curved quarter panel. So I think I'm gonna probably finish this and get a better look of how it's actually gonna look, and then make a decision. So we'll see what I weld in there. I ended up going with the flat piece because I like the way it looked, and I'm really happy with it actually. I blanked out all of the holes in the body, the marker lights, the old radio antenna slot. Those are all covered up now. Ended up cutting out the spare tire carrier already, and I've got sort of an idea of how the fuel cell is going to get laid out. So now we're going to be rebuilding basically the whole floor in here and building the tray for the fuel cell. I got the camber plates welded in, strut bars in, and it was a very productive day. So I was thinking about sort of like piecing the fuel cell together from like all these different pieces and stuff, and then I was like, you know what, I need to just button the floor up and then just cut the fuel cell out. So I cut a panel. This guy this way. This guy fits in here, and then obviously, so this is where I'll cut out for the fuel cell. What's left over, I'm gonna roll some beads in to give it some more strength and shit like that. And then I'll just drop this panel down. I'll roll some sides, and then I can use this for the bottom piece of the pan. So it should be relatively simple and straightforward. I don't have a sheet metal brake here, so trying to like make this whole bottom piece out of one and like pressing the sides up.
Not gonna work out.
Not gonna work. We'll just have some fun with it.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's where we're at. We're gonna cut that out, and I'm gonna throw some beads in it and get it welded in. After trying to take off my leg.
The wire wheel did?
Yeah. Yeah, it like fucking, it jumped off the edge of the metal and then like caught my pants. like ripped it out of my hands, and that's when I screamed very loudly because it was headed for my pee-pee. And I was very scared. Today we are building the transmission mount and then putting the car back on its 4 wheels. I mean, I would rather not put anything back on yet, but I gotta go back to work, so I'm gonna get it on its wheels, load it up in U-Haul and drive it home, and then I'll finish the build at my shop in California.
And I heard you're sending videos so we can keep it updated.
I'll try to take some videos of the stuff that I'm doing, and then you guys can come out when the car's finished, and we'll do a little rodeo with it, and hopefully have some fun.
Do some hoonage.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Dude, the fuel cell housing looks really good.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked on that.
That turned out great.
Okay, cool. So a couple little mods that need to happen. Just because I'm sure like these little fitment issues are probably because this car's been wrecked at some point in the past, so not everything is like exactly where it should be. Because so far everything about these LS swap parts is pretty money. I mean, I have copious amounts of room around my headers. The steering shaft, the steering column has like 4 inches of room all the way around it to go around, and everything kind of lines up. This Y pipe is hitting the side of the transmission here, and it's like so slight. I mean, so I may not even do anything about it. I may just heat the Y pipe up and dent it in a little bit. Just depends on how much it's rattling. If it rattles a whole bunch, I'll just fucking dent it in and be done with it. And then the headers on this side also hit my control arm mount, and it's not like the end of the world, but I may also, that one honestly I might cut off and then like weld a flat plate on to just get a little bit more clearance as opposed to denting it, because if you hit it with a hammer, you know, everything's gonna get slightly bent. So I might just cut it and like weld a plate on it. But again, that's more gonna be if we fire it up and it starts rattling a shit ton, I'll do that. But
Like working out the kinks?
yeah, nothing too crazy. But today the tranny mount is the name of the game, and it's going to be a bit of a project just to get everything up in here. I want the mount to be above the exhaust, not below it, just for clearance, because if we put it below, it's just, I don't know, I don't like it. So we're gonna build some doohickey to go up in here and hold it to the tunnel.
JP, do you have fab learnings for us?
Indubitably. So we're making the transmission bracket, and the easiest way that I found to build a bracket to hold something, start with the bracket that will go onto the thing that you're doing, and then build some brackets that will go onto the thing you're trying to hold it onto, and then you just make the shit that goes in between. And it's super simple. So yeah, it's still really fucking hot. Hold on. So like this guy, I literally just cut it and heated it up with a propane torch and then smacked it with a hammer, and it's starting to get like really close. So I got to do some cleaning up on the side, make it a little shorter, and then we'll drill a hole, we'll bolt it in place to our mount, and then just weld it right into position here, and we'll do that same thing on the other side, and then we'll have full-blown transmission mount. And I mean, this is going to be as beefy as you need it to be, so not too worried about it. Yeah, so the transmission mount is finished. I'm super stoked with it. It's ridiculously beefy. And I don't have any clearance issues with the exhaust, so I'm really happy. We were, like I said earlier, we were considering going underneath everything, but I'm super stoked that we went this way. I was a little concerned with how rigid the trans tunnel would be, but we beefed up our car side mounts with like some 1/4 inch box, and it could not be any more solid. One of the reasons I wanted to make sure that this was extremely beefy is because on this particular swap, almost the entirety of the LS is behind the engine mounts. I mean, the engine starts here and the mounts are right here, right? So all of the weight of the engine is hanging back behind it, and I just didn't want any concerns with the weight of the engine or the torque and all that shit, like, you know, doing weird stuff. So we beefed that up a little bit. I'm super stoked with it, and everything fits as it should. So it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but
That's pretty.
it's pretty. And you know, the shift linkage lines up directly with the trans tunnel. I did put a little bit of like play in it, so if we really need to, the holes are slotted. I can bring the transmission left and right a little bit, and I can bring the bracket forward and back if we need to get a little bit further forward with the engine. But I have a feeling that where it's at now is pretty much where it's going to be. So we're going to start taking measurements, getting a drive shaft ordered, and all that kind of stuff. But for the rest of today, suspension's going back in it. She's going to be down on her wheels, and then we're going to load her up on a U-Haul.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Feeling good?
Dude, I'm so stoked. I wish we could have gotten... The only things that I wish I could have gotten to while I was here, I wanted to have enough time to pull everything back out and paint the engine bay. And that means I would have had to have made like 2 or 3 more brackets for the fuel pressure regulator, the brake bias control, a couple of things that are going to go in the engine bay. But just don't have time. So I'll just knock all those out when I get home. Point that camera at me, I'd be willing to bet that your subscribers could smell my armpits right now.
I hope you got that.
Smells like freedom, JP.
It smells like fucking freedom, bro.
Okay, so we last caught up. You were you did the trans brace.
Yes, the trans mount is in. It's finished. It's not painted, so I guess it's not finished, but it's in. And the LS and the tranny are all bolted in, hung by their own brackets, and everything's done. There is nothing else supporting it right anymore, which is great. And the floors haven't collapsed, so that's nice because, you know, means we sort of did something right. So right now we're just getting the suspension back on, and hopefully we'll have the wheels on tonight so that I can get it loaded tomorrow morning because that's my deadline. I'm not anticipating anything. Well, let me put it this way. The wheels are definitely going to go on. Whether or not all of the parts make it onto the car, we'll see. But as of now, you know, control arms, coilovers, hubs, and wheels isn't going to be too big a deal. Definitely, obviously not putting in the CV joints. I might even just leave the diff out just because why do I fucking need to put it in? But
Right now it's just go mode, really.
right now it's just getting it on wheels so we can push it up into the truck.
But JP got essentially this front assembly put together, and it's super, super hot looking with a bunch of like holes for you to put things.
Yeah.
And it's for your wiener.
Holes for your wieners, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like cool gold colors to signify value and wasted money. But I didn't get a time lapse of
Gold colors go faster, actually.
it. Gold is fast?
Yeah, gold colors go faster.
Oh, that's good to know.
The more gold that's on your car, the faster it is.
You're gonna need it with an NALS.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But so I'm gonna get it.
2,200-pound NALS is definitely gonna need lots of gold parts.
You're not going anywhere.
I might just have
anytime.
to paint the whole car gold, to be honest.
Gold foil heat wrap at least.
I'm actually gonna get carbon fiber vinyl wrap because that's how you get extra light is by carbon fiber wrapping everything.
You don't know what you mean to me. I'm so proud to have you for my I'm proud to have you for my I'm so proud to have you for my I'm proud to have you for my I'm so proud to have you for
So it's the skeleton crew here at the shop now.
Yep, we're just fucking crushing it in the late night.
Yep.
And I can't decide whether or not I should just put my wheels on and send it, or if I should put my brand new calipers on because they look cool, and that's the only reason that I would have to put them on right now because there's no brake system.
They do look freaking rad though.
So, I mean, it looks weird not having anything in there, doesn't it? Like, I want to put the, like, I feel like surely this doesn't support the car, and I need, like, I have to put the disc and the caliper in there, otherwise it isn't gonna roll right. But obviously that's not true.
Well, is it gonna pass tech this way?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, okay, then
Definitely pass tech at Laguna Seca when I get there next weekend.
then it's 50-50 of what you want to do. Because if it wasn't, then for sure you have to put the brakes on. But if this is gonna pass tech,
Well, even better, we won't put the brake on this side, but we'll put the brake on the other side.
perfect. That way you have, if you're a NASCAR driver, dude, you can just brake to turn.
Dude, turn braking.
Yeah.
That's how all the best drivers do it. It's just turn braking.
Yeah.
That's what all the buttons for on a Formula One car steering wheel.
Really?
Is so that they can adjust their braking bias and steer with their brakes. Everybody knows that.
This is news to me, but man, I'm gonna look at that mod soon.
I mean, that is what all the buttons are for, but clearly...
Is it
they don't-
legitimately?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, so all the buttons on the steering wheels, they can adjust. Dude, Formula One cars are crazy. Not only can they adjust, like, the brake bias, they can adjust the brake bias per wheel for each corner. And the computer will remember in turn 4, I need to put less pressure to the front left tire. Like,
That's ridiculous.
The computer knows that, and they can change all those settings while they're driving.
That's crazy.
And I'm pretty sure in Formula One, the pit can also change settings in the car.
From the pit to
From
the car.
the pit to the car, yeah. I know MotoGP, they can't. MotoGP, the rider has to do all the manipulation of the bike. But I think Formula One, the pit can change shit on the car. I don't know, though. Don't quote me on that.
That's gnar.
it's
I
pretty
thought we
nuts.
were just bullshitting for a second.
No, that's the real deal.
Yeah, that's insane. So JP's been busy last night.
Yeah, she's on her wheels. It's pretty rad. Pretty much everything fit, which was great. A couple of hardware issues, nothing we couldn't solve with just a quick run to the store. And as you can see, it's stanced perfectly in every way. It's a joke. It's pretty ridiculous. But it rolls, so that's cool. And our homie's supposed to be showing up to help us get it in the truck here in a little bit. And we'll get it loaded up, and then we'll be on our way to California. Hooray!
Road trip time.
Road trip time. No, it's gonna be nice to be back in my shop. It'll be cool to finish up a couple of these brackets and get all this stuff sorted out, and then get it spray painted, and then lots of wiring. And I have a bunch of pretty slick wiring tools and shit. So I still have to build pretty much the whole dash, and then we just set up a deal with Chris, one of the guys in the shop. He's actually an upholstery guy, so he's gonna. I'm gonna leave my seats here, and he's gonna do some crazy designs and freshen the seats up a bit. And I'm excited to see what he does. I told him to just do whatever he wants, and we'll throw those in, and she'll be pretty much done.
Sweet. Yeah, no, I think it sits really nice as is. I mean, you haven't adjusted anything. You just put it on.
Yeah, I mean, this is just where the coilovers came at, and this is pretty much just kind of eyeballing where caster is sort of and then the camber on this wheel is actually totally off, which is really weird because I have the camber adjustments set the same on both sides, but this one is super caved in, and I'm sure that's probably because this car was wrecked many times at some point in the past, but we'll get that sorted out. I think the tail panel might be my favorite part. It looks so dope. It's gonna be rad once I get all the lights and shit on it.
It's very futuristic right now.
Yeah, no lights at all.
Oh, dude, what you could do is, have you heard of what's the term? It's micro drilling or whatever, and you put almost imperceptible holes to the eye, and then you mount the lights behind it, and so when the lights are on, it just shines through.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's an idea.
So it looks like it does now, but when the lights go, oh, there's our guy.
Yes. Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
It's time. This is a bit of a hack.
I don't know if you're supposed to load cars into U-Haul trucks, but it's not the first time I've done it.
It sure seems like you are.
I think that's about as money as it gets, huh?
Yeah.
There's plenty of room for parts.
Looks so tiny in here.
Dude, it's not a large car. I got nervous out there. I was like, oh, maybe this is not gonna be big enough. And then I was like, nah, it'll be all right.
Yeah, this thing's a joke.
Yeah, it is. Entirely.
Quite emotional.
Indeed, it's a very emotional day.
It is.
It is. So we got everything loaded up, and it fit miraculously. Who would have thought?
With room to spare.
With room to spare. Going to California, the next time you guys see me, I'll be out there, and we're gonna have a fair amount of work left to do on the car, but I'm hoping to have everything done by the end of April. I have a fair amount of time off of work this month, so I will be mostly focusing on the car, and it's essentially just going to be brakes, fuel, and wiring. And that's about it.
Right on, guys. Thanks
Yep.
for watching.
All right, thank you, and we will see you in a little bit.
Sweet.